Okay guys, we are now live here in the town of Bale with chef owner Galton Blackiston here of Morstan Hall, and recently the Creme Fish and Chip Shop, which apparently is going extremely well. And today we're doing a recipe from the Cooking with Kids Christmas campaign in association with Tesco. Galton's going to tell us a little bit about what we're doing.
Absolutely, it's a wonderful ice cream which will appeal to all of you little kids out there and parents alike. You can adapt it and use what you've got in your store cupboard. Ideally, you would use leftover Christmas pudding, but if you haven't got it, if you wanted to make it before Christmas, use really good cake glassy fruits or something like that, or crystallized fruits. I wouldn't go down the mincemeat line because of the suet in it, and it makes it sort of fatty, but you can certainly ring the changes. Christmas cake is very good with it as well. But basically it's just a normal creme anglaise, and you fold in the fruits, and if you churn it in an ice cream machine, brilliant. But if you haven't got an ice cream machine, doesn't matter, you can still make it, put it in the coldest part of your freezer, which is probably towards the back, and then yeah, keep an eye on it, keep stirring it every half an hour or so, and you'll get a really good ice cream.
Great, so we've got two different methods there we can use, ice cream machine or not. The good thing is most ice cream machines are affordable now. Some of them have come down in price, and everyone can most people can buy them for their homes these days.
Well, yeah, I mean, I presume everybody who sort of logs on to this sort of thing will be keen cooks.
Yeah.
So, yes, an ice cream machine is an essential part of the kitchen, or it is for me in any case. My kids absolutely adore sorbets and ice creams, and it doesn't really, it doesn't matter what, what flavors you have or whatever. You just need to use it. If you're going to the expense of buying one, for goodness sake, use it.
Yeah, fantastic. And if there's an ice cream for winter, I think this is it.
Absolutely, this is the one.
All right, should we get cracking?
Yes, right.
All right.
So to begin with, it's a standard sort of thing. We make a creme anglaise. So yes, cream. I'm sort of old school, so I use a pint of cream, so old measurements. It's
close to 600.
Yeah. Half a pint of milk, full fat milk, into a pan. If you've got a vanilla pod and you want to make it luxurious, then use the vanilla pod. But if not, this is really good vanilla paste.
Okay, great.
Which I would be tempted to use.
So it's something like an essence or an extract also will work?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely. Get it onto boil. Bring it up to the boil.
Great. So just combine the cream with the milk. That's on a sort of medium heat there.
That's it. Let that come up. If you're using a vanilla pod, then obviously the rules apply that once you've used it, give it a wash out and keep it. Don't chuck it away.
Yeah.
You can use it again and again and again, or you can put it in caster sugar, vanilla sugar. You don't want to just chuck it, otherwise it's too expensive.
Great.
Right, now, eggs. For the creme anglaise, you need egg yolks. Now, I'm very fortunate, just outside there, I know it's dark, we have our own chickens.
Fantastic.
Okay, so you want...
If you've got your own chickens, use your own eggs.
Yeah, absolutely, 5 or 6 egg yolks. Doesn't really matter, and keep the egg whites because they make wonderful meringues. You could do meringues over Christmas time as well. Lovely thing to do.
Great. I'm just going to check in with everybody. Everyone can still hear us all right there? Just give us a thumbs up. Great.
Can you hear us? So I'm doing 6 egg yolks actually in this one. And along with the egg yolks goes about, I never weigh things out nowadays, it's because I'm too long in the tooth to be weighing things out. So it's roughly around about 150 grams or about 4 ounces of caster sugar. Okay, so you mix the egg yolks and the caster sugar together.
Great, so we'll just
like so.
give them a mix. We'll just hold that up to the camera if we can see what's happening there.
What is
a What is it? How would you describe a creme anglaise? So
well, basically it's custard. In layman's terms, it's custard. Good old custard. So if you didn't want to make an ice cream and you wanted to make a really good custard, this will be it. If you wanted to make a custard for a trifle over Christmas time, what I'd be tempted to do would be to add a little bit of corn flour to the egg yolks and the sugar. Okay. And then when you make the custard, it'll thicken it up to a degree that you can actually put it on a custard and it'll hold.
Okay. Fantastic. Great. So we'll just let those egg yolks and sugar are becoming sort of quite pale and fluffy.
Yeah. This is the basics for any ice cream. that you possibly wish to make.
Okay.
It's your egg yolks, it's your sugar, it's your cream, and your milk. Vanilla, if you want to add, if you want that flavour coming through, then that's optional.
Right. So here, the creme anglaise really is a basic in pastry and in cooking for many different things.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Take it
fantastic.
to about like that, and then wait for your cream to come up to the boil. While you are waiting, what I've got here is a Morstan Hall Christmas pudding.
There you go.
Now these are, you know, we take a lot of effort into. You can, I don't know if you can see, this is quite a light Christmas pudding, because that's the way I like them. I don't like the very dark, very, very rich Christmas puddings. It's full of flavour. It has things like muscatels in it, apricots, all this lovely ingredients in there. And when you do steam it, it is beautiful. And
the packaging looks nice.
And the packaging looks nice, and they've run out at a lot of money, but they're good. They're worth it. And what you want to do is to, assuming that you see, I would only use it if I was going to do leftovers.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so the point of this recipe is you can use a Christmas pudding from scratch, but the idea is you've eaten your Christmas pudding, there's some left over.
Yes, exactly. And literally, all you would do is to take a wedge out.
Smells amazing.
It
you can
is.
Smell that from here.
And then into amounts.
Great. So the good thing here is we haven't, apart from the Christmas pudding, of course, which takes months to prepare in advance, everything else we've started from scratch.
Yep.
You know, so it seems like something anyone can really do at home. You've got all your kids there with you, so I hope they're breaking up the Christmas pudding as we speak.
Alternatively, you use something like this, which are these beautiful fruits. So it has pineapple, pear, figs, apple, orange, and you chop them up. That almost makes it like a tutti frutti ice cream, which I think is really quite appealing.
So almost like good quality.
Yeah, they are good quality glassy fruits. Actually, it is worth spending that little extra on getting decent ones.
Fantastic. So yeah, so the cream and milk takes a few minutes to come up.
It takes a few minutes.
All this stuff we're doing while that's happening.
Absolutely. And then, once you've made your creme anglaise, well, you'll have to see the process of it. You then obviously have to let it cool.
Yep.
And if you've got an ice cream machine, I start churning the ice cream on its own to start off with, without the fruits in, and then add it as it's thickening up, so that the fruits don't all get tangled around the blade.
Great.
So that's the sort of amount that you will need for this. In fact, the more generous you are, the better it is. And never knowingly to be tight.
I feel like someone's got a sweet tooth here. Great. So what's your memories? Was it winter? Was it summer when you first started cooking? Was it a bit of both as a young adult?
As a young adult, well, I'm from an era where we used to do cooking at school, which is sadly almost lost now. But it is coming back, I believe. But yes, so instead of doing woodwork or something like that, I chose home economics.
Yeah.
And so I did a bit of cooking at school and quite enjoyed it. And then I left school actually to play cricket, because I'm not academic, so I was asked to play cricket. I was decent at cricket. I was asked by Kent to go and play cricket, but soon became aware that actually to be a professional at any sport, you need to be extraordinary, not just good.
Yeah.
And I wasn't extraordinary.
We've extraordinary behind the stove.
Yeah, but, and so then, after a season at Kent in the under-19s team,
yep.
Was asked to go back to your club team and keep an eye on you, basically saying you aren't good enough. And then, I started doing a market stall, doing homemade produce out off a market stall on the Kent Sussex borders of Rye, which is a lovely cinque port town, and it would sell out. And so I'd have a table like the table of this, that size of my worktop here,
yep.
and fill it all with cakes, biscuits, sponges.
So pastry was where you...
Pastry, that's where I started. Yeah, totally.
Right.
This is just coming up to the boil, so take it off.
Right. So cream's just as it starts to bubble and come up the side of the pan.
Yep. Add a little bit to your egg yolks and sugar. Give it a whisk round.
Fantastic. So we've just added that. Why do we add that a little bit at a time?
Well, I do it like that. I don't need to add it all, and then it all goes back into the pan. Okay. So just to get it all moved off the base of the bowl. So back in.
Great. So it's half the hot cream and milk with the egg yolks and sugar, and then back into the pan.
You can put it all in one fowl soup, and then try to put it all back into your pan. Now what you're looking to do is to put it back on a moderate heat and stir it continuously. So, and you're looking for the custard to coat the back of the spoon. And I tend to, I mean, in the kitchens, it's sort of frowned upon if you use wooden spoons now. It's pathetic, but hey, we have to go by that.
Interesting.
Yeah. But at home, where nobody can tell me off, I'll use a wooden spoon to judge whether it's coating the back of the spoon.
So what is this the tricky part? Is this the sort of bit that takes patience?
It is a part that you need. You can't just leave it. If you leave this and go and watch 5 minutes of telly or whatever, then it'll curdle. So, and you don't really want it to curdle. There are ways of getting it back once it has curdled, and that's putting it into a very fast liquidizer. Yeah. And you can sometimes get it back, but you're best to take your time and keep an eye on it and make sure that you get it right first time.
Right. So this is where you can swap. So stir for 5 minutes, give it to your daughter or son.
Absolutely. Yeah. Your children obviously have to be aware that you're dealing with hot liquids, but yes, absolutely. Yes, get the young ones to stir it. As long as you use a tall-sided pan, they're not going to come to too many problems. And bearing in mind that they're
someone's watching over their shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. I might just ask one of the questions from one of our fans here at Great British Chefs. So it's Kim Watkinson. So any tips about non-dairy ice cream? So making it with a different type of non-dairy cream.
Right. Now you're going to get me. Well, I suppose non-dairy will mean something like soya milk or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can apply the same rules, making a nice. You don't need to add anything like this amount of sugar, because most soy milks, well, the soy milks that you can buy an unsweetened soy milk, but if you use the sweetened soy milk, then you just follow the same rules, I would say. Yeah. Add a lot less sugar. You could use coconut milk, but then you're already starting off with the coconut ice cream. There's nothing wrong with a coconut ice cream, but so there are ways around it. Yes, there are ways.
Something like almond or rice milk or
something like that. As well. Yeah, those sort of things haven't reached Norfolk yet.
We've got all our friends with dietary requirements around the world.
I tell you what is really good. What I would recommend that you do is to make a wonderful clementine or mandarin sorbet.
Oh, that sounds
so
amazing.
Juice a whole load of clementines or mandarins or whatever, or satsumas, and then reduce that juice by half so it intensifies the flavour and make it into a sorbet. That to me is absolutely delicious. So that's what I would probably do. And now this is nearly
I can see that's just come. It's just almost like a double cream consistency, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. Now, I don't know if I can show you this, but I'll have a go. And it should almost hold the line. Okay. If you wanted to do it with a thermometer, which is quite an easy way of doing it, you need it to hit 80 degrees.
Great.
Then you know that your egg yolks are cooked and you're not going to get into any
So for consistency purposes, I suppose that's for people that are worried if they're going to under or overcook it.
Yeah, and to bear in mind that this will continue cooking when you take it off the heat. So you can see a line there, or hopefully you can see a line there. So that's what I would recommend. If any of you have got a machine called a Thermomix, you can make the whole thing in a Thermomix right from scratch, and it's brilliant. You put it on for 10 minutes, number 5, at 10 minutes at number 5 at 80 degrees, and it makes the most wonderful ice cream every time.
Amazing. I think that's one for Santa's list.
Yes, one for Santa's list. So there's your custard, basically. Okay, that's made. So now you have to let that cool. Okay, if it was me in the kitchen at Morstan, I'd be pathetic and put it through a sieve and all that sort of thing. But if at home, I wouldn't bother.
Don't need to worry about that. Okay.
Unless the in-laws are in.
So
now, we've got a cold custard here, and you'll see how thick that is now. So it becomes very nice and thick. It's sort of custard consistency. If you're wanting a pouring custard at home, that would be it. If you wanted a custard for a trifle, you'd want it a bit thicker.
A bit thicker, okay. And that's where your corn flour trick at the beginning was.
Absolutely.
Would help with that. Okay.
Now, so what I'll do with that now, I've got an ice cream machine around the back here.
Yep.
I'll start churning that, and it'll take 20 minutes sort of thing for it to start thickening around the outside. When it starts to do that, then I add all my bits and pieces, my Christmas pudding and my glassy fruits or whatever I'm using.
Great.
Sort of
So how long would it take to churn from a cold custard?
Yeah,
roughly?
Again, that depends on your ice cream machine, but I'd say it takes probably at least 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
But what I would also say is that if you've got a nice deep-sided container, then it is quite good not to bother by putting it in an ice cream. It does work particularly well by doing it straight into the freezer, you know, so you can do it.
Great. And then the key is to add the ingredients just before it's ready.
I would say so. I would say so. Otherwise, they all get clogged around the blade, and it drives you mad.
Okay. So we might just. I'm just going to jump in there for a sec, guys. Danny, do you want to? Do you have a question for Galton here about the ice cream or any of the kids' recipes or any tips or hints?
Come on, Daddy.
Hi there, Galton. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Andrew.
Could you just repeat again? I've just made my custard. Okay.
Yeah. Has it curdled or is it all right?
No, it's fine, and I did the back of the spoon trick, and that's worked fine. I need to cool it down quickly, and I think I missed some of your tips there. How do I cool it down quickly?
Right. If you wanted to cool it down very quickly, sit it over a bowl of ice water.
Yeah.
Then you'll be able to cool it very, very quickly. I wouldn't recommend that you put it into the fridge.
No.
At all. So that's really the only way to cool it quickly.
Okay. I think I'm going to have to do that. Just another question, just out of the blue. So ice creams, what's the most unusual flavoured ice cream you've made?
The most unusual? Well, I suppose one which we're using now at the chip shop, which is quite interesting, is a beer ice cream. And the beer that we use is a beer called Worth the Wait. And it's a real ale, and actually it's really nice, but that's one of the more unusual ones, I suppose. Again, it has to. The trouble is with doing an unusual ice cream, that's got to be an extraordinary. Whatever you do, it's got to be a really good flavour. So that's the important thing. So you can use some wacky and weird and wonderful ideas for ice creams, but you must make them taste good. I'll tell you one other which I've done quite a bit at Morstan, and that is a sherry vinegar ice cream, which is really lovely. Something like that.
What would you serve with that?
Sherry vinegar ice cream?
Yeah.
Well, at this time of year, I would serve something, well, even, I would do, we do a wonderful banana souffle, which is something that would go really well with that. Yeah, this sort of time of year, ingredients actually, so even a tarte tatin works really well with it, something like that.
That's the most unusual one I've heard of so far.
Trust me, it works.
Cheers, Danny, thank you. Nisha, do you have a question for Galton there? How's your well, first of all, how's your custard going? Are you all set there? Where is she? Have we lost her?
Where's Nisha?
You got your camera and your mic on there, Nisha? No?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Okay. Must have just lost her. There we go. There she is.
Sherry vinegar ice cream. It's pretty lovely. How's your custard, Nisha?
What would you serve with that?
Sherry vinegar ice cream?
Yeah.
Well, at this time of year, I would serve
Can you hear us there, Nisha?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's.
Do a wonderful banana souffle, which is something that would go really well with that.
I'll tell you what we'll do. What we'll do was just everyone turn their mics off again. We'll just move on to the next step. So Galton's going to jump in the back. He's going to put this custard in the corner. Yeah.
Trust me, it works.
And then we'll probably be able to see a finished product probably in the next few minutes or so. So let's get that out the back. Sure. We'll do. Okay, guys, how are we doing there? I'm going to try it again, Nisha. If you've Galton's just popped out the back to put the ice cream in the churner. I'm just going to see if you can turn your mic on and if you got a question there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Galton's just on his way back. I'll relay the question to him.
Okay, what I have to ask is if there was a sauce that I can serve with this ice cream, what would that be?
A dessert to serve with this ice cream?
Yeah, a sauce, something like a caramel sauce, some sort of sauce. If you want to.
That is a very good question. Galton's just on his way back. Hope everyone's doing all right there. The thing I like about this recipe is I'm hoping everyone's able to keep up. So that's all right. We're having a few technical issues with the ice cream machine out the back, but we shouldn't be too long. Sarah, can I jump in there and ask how you're doing with Ted? You want to turn your mic on and let me know how things are going?
Yeah, can you hear us?
How are we doing there?
You can hear us, yeah?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, we're good. We've got a gradually thickening custard. We've just had something really special happen. Box of 6 eggs, and 3 of them had double yolks. Can you believe that?
3 double yolks in a batch of eggs?
3 double yolks in 3, yeah, so 3 eggs out of 6 had a double yolk, and I'm just absolutely staggered. So,
three of Sarah's eggs had double yolks.
The first one was a surprise, but then there were 2.
No problem.
So if there's a lucky custard, that's the one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, exactly. Yes, we're doing all right.
Where did you get your eggs from? Brilliant.
Oh, they were from Spa in Walthamstow. So.
Great. Okay, I'm just going to jump in there back to Nisha's question. Is there a few sauces or a sauce you could recommend to go with this ice cream?
Well, if you're going to say, yeah, for the children, I would do probably something like the decadent time of year and all that sort of thing. That's a chocolate sauce.
Yeah.
So something like milk chocolate sauce, so we can get to 7% dark chocolate, something like that. I think essential for kids is to have 100 A's to have the popping candy. Yeah, send them on fire with the popping candy. If it's for adults, I would put sort of an orange-based liqueur over it or something like that. Maybe something like that.
Oh, okay. I like the idea of the orange.
The Christmas pudding is the ideal thing to do.
Sorry?
I would serve that, the ice cream, with Christmas pudding, but doing it with the glassy fruits rather than...
Oh, okay. Oh, great, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you've got a few options there, Nisha. You can either go the adult only version with Grand Marnier or Cointreau, or brandy, or you can go the kids friendly, which is milk chocolate and popping candy, or the glacé fruit version with warm Christmas pudding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. So that's churning out the back, and we're going to wait a little while before we add our fruits in as well.
Yeah.
And that was with a cold custard. So you can do the custard the night before.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. You can actually make the ice cream a couple of days in advance, well in advance. In fact, that's what you want to do. The last thing you want is to have the hassle of doing this on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
Get it made.
Okay.
Put it in the freezer. I tell you, if the kids know where it is, it won't last long.
Okay, so this is a common question, but we do like to get feedback on Christmas, certain types of Christmas recommendations from different chefs.
Yeah.
So one of our fans, Arjuna, in London, has asked what sort of vegetarian recommendations you'd have
On Christmas Day?
on Christmas Day, Christmas dinner.
Yes, I love vegetarian cooking, and I'm not just saying it, I do. If you're going to do vegetarian cooking, you have to pack it with flavour. My personal love at the moment is gnocchi. I love doing gnocchi. I do a parmesan sort of a gnocchi sort of thing, but you could use a mature cheddar or something like that. Again, you'd have them ready, cooked off, and then just fried at the last minute in sort of a sage butter or something like that.
Lovely.
The other thing which I really like doing, which would be as a sort of a centerpiece, and at this time of year you get really good small celeriac. Take a whole celeriac, give it a good wash, keep the skin on it, have a deep-sided pan, not dissimilar to that sort of thing, deep-sided pan. Put your whole celeriac into the pan and cover it with a good dollop of butter.
Yep.
Put it on the top of your stove and just melt the butter and gently start cooking with a lid on. Put a handful of sage leaves into it, or thyme, and then just gently roast it on top of the stove. Put a lid on it.
Yep.
And it will take about a couple of hours on a gentle heat. You keep turning it, and the skin goes darker and darker, but inside is the most succulent, beautiful celeriac. you'd ever wish to taste.
It's quite sweet and
it's sweet, and because by doing that, it is delicious. You need to trust me on that. But then again, you would need a sauce to go with it, and so something so simple like maybe just a wild mushroom butter or something like a beurre blanc or something like that, a butter sauce. And to me, that's absolute decadence.
That sounds amazing.
There are so many things on vegetarianism that I really like to do, and an emphasis on a good seasonal vegetable is a great thing to do.
Fantastic. So it's a slow butter cooked celery.
You could put it in the oven if you wanted to, but put the lid on. But don't forget to keep looking at it, keep turning it. The skin will go dark, but that skin is unctuous. Don't waste it. You cut a wedge out of it, and it is beautiful.
Great. So it's nice to hear, that we're slow cooking vegetables, not just meats on Christmas,
Absolutely.
And I think that's choosing the right winter veg that's in season is the trick there, and obviously getting a little bit more complicated with gnocchi and things like that. I think there's a lot of options. I think people just think nut roast.
Yeah, they do, and I mean I have to say, and obviously at work we have quite a lot of dietary requirements and vegetarians, and one thing I always do stress is that when we're doing a vegetarian menu, it can be something as simple as a beetroot, but that beetroot has to be looked after and served in several little ways to make it really come out and come alive. And I've gone past the stage of twice-baked soufflés and risotto and all that sort of thing. Don't get me wrong, I love them all, but I want to give somebody something a little bit different.
Yeah. Of course. All right, I might jump in there again. Is Karen there? Do you have a question for Galton? No? Rosanna? Rosanna, could you hear me? Do you have a question for Galton?
Oh, hello.
There we go.
Galton, which one is the best ice cream you ever had, and do you always make homemade ice cream and service at home?
What's the best one I've ever had?
Yes.
That's a massively difficult question because I absolutely adore ice creams and sorbets. I would say up there amongst the best is something very seasonal. Would be something. Well, in the summertime it could be a gooseberry ice cream. I love the flavour of gooseberries. This time of year it'll definitely be clementines or blood oranges, perhaps a bit later on or something like that. Rhubarb, you name it, anything. Any fruit or anything, I love making them into ice creams and sorbets. So there's not one which I don't particularly like. I like them all.
No, it's not a favourite.
Rosanna, could you hear me? Do you have a question for Galton?
Well, so you don't have a favourite then, just seasonal ingredients.
Galton,
Yes.
which one is the best ice cream you ever had? And do you always make homemade ice cream?
So we're getting a little bit of repetition on the feedback there, so if anyone's getting that, I apologise.
That's a
Going to see it's Sarah. Sarah, can you hear me there? Do you have a question for Galton?
I would say.
My question. Sorry, you want me yet?
Yes.
Yes, my question was, my ice cream always goes very hard unless I put alcohol in it. I don't want to
Adults, did you say? Rhubarb, you name it, anything.
We've got a bit of feedback there. Rosanna, is your mic still on?
Not anymore.
Okay, thanks. All right, so back to you.
No, it's not a favourite. So you don't have a favourite then, just seasonal ingredients.
Okay, wow. All right. Sorry, guys. We're getting a lot of feedback there, so I do apologise for that. Okay.
Try again.
Let's try again there. So if you want to jump in there again, Sarah, with your question.
Hi. My question was, my homemade ice cream always goes too hard once it's been in the freezer more than a day or two.
Yeah.
And I can put alcohol in it for grown-ups, but not for children. So what's the secret of stopping
I'll tell you,
ice
actually,
cream
if you follow this recipe, because the amount of sugar content in it, I don't think it will go too hard. And you take it to the right, so it coats the back of the spoon. It's all down to the sugar content
Right.
in your ice cream, generally speaking. And probably if you make it all with milk as well, that tends to make a firmer ice cream. Whereas I use cream and milk. So you tend to get a much more softer scoop by adding a little bit more sugar, something like that, without necessarily having to add the booze element to it. Although the booze element is quite good for knocking the kids out after on Christmas Day.
Some of the alcohol might cook off on the stove even.
Yeah, I think with ice creams though, I mean this, you can imagine this glassy fruits ice cream for the adult version. If you added something like a Van der Hum or something like that and marinated the fruits in the Van der Hum and then added those, then that's absolute decadence.
Great. So we've got some adults only and some kids-friendly ones there as well. What I just wanted to go back to. I just want to make sure that's all right, Sarah. That answers your question.
Oh, it does very well. Yes, thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, can I jump back to Karen? See if she's there with a question for Galton. No, Karen, can you hear us?
Okay, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay, but I missed what you. Did you want me to ask a question?
Yes, please.
Although the booze element is quite good for knocking the kids out after on Christmas Day.
Can you hear us there, Karen?
Some of the alcohol might have got on the stove. Yeah, I think with ice cream, so I mean this.
Okay.
This glassy fruit ice cream.
Not just getting that feedback again. If you mind turning your mics off, what we'll do is I'll go back to a couple of questions here from our fans. One from Monica Shaw. Someone says here that babies visiting their cousins' children during the Christmas period and wanted any fun food. So I suppose it came to my question as well when Harry and Sam were growing up around the festive time. What sort of stuff would they be interested in, or what would
Can I go back to? Well, it's anything they can get their hands involved with, and generally it would probably be spoons.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question was, I always like a bit of booze in my ice cream, but it is how much. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
On to now.
Okay, I missed what you. Did you want me to ask a question?
I tell you, I should have come to the studio to do this.
Okay, my question is that I always like a bit of booze in my ice cream, but I never know how much to put in it because obviously if you put too much in it doesn't set. Are there any ice creams? Sorry, any sort of recommendations for what booze is best for ice cream and how much ratio is it to the custard ratio?
Okay, great. Thank you. You got that. If you could just mute your mics there for a second so we don't have any feedback. And I sort of answered the question a bit about what booze and what causes a consistency with ice cream. But any other?
What I would say is, again, modify this recipe. It still makes it Christmassy if you wanted to do sort of brandied sultanas. So marinate your sultanas or something like that in brandy, and then proceed by using this ice cream and then adding brandy.
Yeah, my question was, I always like a bit of booze in my ice cream, but it is how much can you hear me?
If I could, Karen, if I could just get you to mute your mic there for me, if that's alright. Just give me a bit of feedback.
Okay, my question is that I always like a bit of booze in my ice cream, but I never know how much to
we're going
put in it.
so we're just going to continue on. We were talking about what Harry and Sam are getting involved in, were they heavily involved, and what they sort of foods they enjoy eating
How
or
much
making.
ratio is it to custard ratio?
Are totally different from the Harry predominantly fish over meat.
Okay, so you want me to mute the mic now, okay?
Yes, great. Whereas Sam is a proper meat and two veg and all that sort of thing. Loves his puddings, loves his chocolate, everything like that. And so they are worlds apart. But we do involve them in cooking. And then Sam, who's the youngest one, so he's 12, really enjoys cake making and things like that. So I generally make cakes with them and with him and anything, you know, along with a sweet tooth, so he can always lick a bowl out and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Harry, again, he's coming to the stage where he's almost getting to a student now, so he has to, you know, he has to learn how to cook actually. So it's very important. So he's quite interested in different ways of cooking things, you know, how to not necessarily overcook a piece of fish, how to tell when it's beautifully fresh and all that sort of thing. But yeah, it's getting them involved and getting them to actually realise that cooking is a laugh. It's fun.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I always say. If you know, you have to be able to cook well at home. You almost have to do it with a smile on your face because it is good fun.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
So I think that's the underlying message, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is as much as it is educational and is nutritious, I think that'll come naturally as long as you enjoy it. Really.
Enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Now then, my ice
Okay,
cream
so that's
is like everything else playing up.
That's fine because we've got one we made earlier, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm just going to make sure because obviously the internet connection between a few of us has sort of been cutting in and out a bit. We've lost our picture, but I'm hoping everyone can still hear me. Sarah, I can see you quite clearly. Can you give us a thumbs up? Can you still see and hear us? Fantastic. Good news. That's good news. All right, we're going to go get some ice cream that we prepared a little earlier today. And when I say we, I mean Galton. And we're going to serve that up. Yeah. Have a little taste. Yep. And then we might see what other questions we've got. So guys, thanks for bearing with us. I'm just going to see if my picture is going to come back in. It seems to be fine for you guys at the moment in terms of you being able to hear and see what's going on.
Now then, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the sort of container which I think is ideal for putting your ice cream in if you don't have an ice cream machine. So that sits in the freezer very nicely with your lid on. If you do this in a couple of days in advance, absolutely no problems. Ice cream's good. Generally, you.
If this is in the freezer for a couple of days, will it be quite hard, or will it need to soften a little?
This you'll probably need to bring it out 10 minutes before you want it, and just sit it in your fridge. Okay. Well, I can tell this is going to be good.
Yeah, I can see the colour of the fruits just sort of made it a little bit more.
And as I say, you make this before Christmas and whatever, and then once you've had Christmas, then you sort of move on to the leftover Christmas pudding and the Christmas cake and all that sort of thing.
Actually, we're talking about leftovers. If we talk about savoury, obviously people have a massive turkey. They might only have 6 people for dinner. They've got about 1 kilo left. Yeah. What sort of interesting things have you done with leftover turkey?
I have to say Norfolk #1 is a brilliant county for turkeys. I'm biased. I think it's the best county. This is where we get our Norfolk black turkeys, Norfolk bronze turkeys. An awful lot of turkeys come out of Norfolk. And so if you're going to have leftovers from it, then first and foremost, don't get rid of the carcass, whatever, because it makes the most wonderful stock. So if you want to do soups over the Christmas and New Year period, then you've got a wonderful turkey stock. But one of the recipes that I really like, and I think I've got it. I'm sure it's on the Great British Chefs, whatever it is.
Site,
is the turkey curry. And it's fantastic, the fruity turkey curry, which we make with pineapples, apples, and banana, and a good stock, your turkey stock, and make it into a turkey curry. It is absolutely delicious.
Fantastic, and I think after all the rich food, something like a fruity curry is a different taste altogether. Something you didn't have on Christmas, and we're going to get stuck in here as well.
You've got to try this. I'll put a little bit of candy on there.
I'm going to make sure everyone can still see and hear us. Everyone still okay there for a picture? Still see Galton and myself in the kitchen here?
Can you still see?
Yep, Rosanna's given us the thumbs up. Fantastic. Okay. Well, I'm going to try a bit of this, and we might have time for a couple more questions.
Go for it. You need to take a good old wedge ahead.
Okay, I'll get it in there.
But this was made, I have to say that this was made this morning, and you can see it's not firm scoop.
I love the texture.
Good, isn't it?
Amazing.
It's a proper tutti frutti ice cream, but it's got a Christmas hint to it.
This is great.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
You've got to try this.
Make sure I can talk to you guys still. Alright. I'm going to try Joe there. Can you hear us, Joe? Do you want to turn your mic on and I'm trying to keep going. Very tutti frutti ice cream. I got popping candy on mine as well. Did you put that on there? We didn't realise. Okay, Joe, can you hear us there? Joe, you there? Okay, looks like we've...
Oh, there's somebody putting their thumb up. Is that Joe?
Okay. I'll tell you what, guys, we might just hit one more question from our fans, and then we might move on. But it's been a good session here. First of all, the basics of ice cream, of all ice cream, creme anglaise.
Yeah.
We've found out a way to use our leftover Christmas pudding.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about what to do for an adults-only version, different flavors of ice creams, an alternative if you don't have an ice cream machine.
Yeah.
So I think we've covered quite a lot here, which is fantastic.
One more thing. If you want a real cheats ice cream, and you've got leftover Christmas pudding or you've got leftover Christmas cake and you want to get it used, a good quality bought custard. Yeah.
Okay, Joe, can you hear us now?
I would suggest that as well.
Oh, there you go. So you can buy if you're short of time.
If you're short of time, you're looking and you think, oh, what can I do with it? And you've got it, use it.
Great. So all you need then is leftover Christmas pudding. Buy some custard and away you go.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So we've got some nice, and all these sorts of ingredients are available at your local Tesco's, which is good, nice and easy. But we've just got one more question here. Questions from our fans. Any tips for perfect macaroons? Because you've got some macaroons on the Great British Chef's site. They're not the easiest thing if you've never made them before, even if you've made them a couple of times. So what's the equipment maybe, or what are you looking for?
Yeah, they are difficult things to get perfected. The only way you really get them perfected is by making them time and time and time again. But you make you whisk your egg whites up with ice and sugar and ground almonds, and you add them fairly quickly, but you're not doing it slowly, so it's not leaving the air into them. So it almost makes a fairly runny batter. That's what it is. It's not a, if your macaron mix is firm, then it'll crack, and it won't work. If it's runny, so it pours almost out of a piping bag, you need to have it sort of, it's not going to be dollar, it's difficult to explain to you that, isn't it? But you need to pipe, and so it pours. And then you need to rest, and so there's a little bit of steam on top. The cooking temperature is massively important. I wouldn't put the macaroni on it's almost sort of meringue temperature that you cook them. Probably, depending on the size of them, you wouldn't really cook them for much more than 20 minutes. Yep. Bring them out, or keep an eye on them, and they should have that lovely glaze on the top. That's if you want to go classically. So if you put that at home, doesn't really matter, but yes, I suppose it does. So I yeah. But yeah, it's experience with macarons, and that you do need you want your meringue mixture not to be firm. It needs to be runny. Leave plenty of space in between them.
So a couple of good tips here. Basically, I think maybe the consistency is one thing I think is wrong, but it's right, if you know what I mean.
Exactly that. That's exactly right.
Too thick is not right because it'll crack. Okay. And the oven temperature about 120 and the cooking time as well. So if the recipe's good, like Galtons is on our site, then you can have a problem at all. It's just a matter of the piping bag will come out with the pan. And if people want to tune back in there and just say thank you and goodbye to us here in Bale, up in North Norfolk.
I have to say it's going to be the last time Elliot comes over to Bale for trying to do an outside broadcast.
I'll come for dinner, but maybe not for
maybe I'll come to the studio and we'll do this one again sometime.
You're all there. Just want to tune in, turn your mics on, and just say a quick thank you and goodbye from wherever you are in the UK.
Yes, hi.
Yes, hi. Thanks very much.
My ice cream please.
Hey guys, I hope your custard is cool soon and you can start making your ice cream. And I reckon you should probably make it, put it in the freezer, hopefully it doesn't get eaten. So in a month's time, you're all sorted for Christmas Day.
Wow, that is getting organised. A month.
Yeah, well, maybe that's a bit too fast. I think it'll all get eaten anyway, judging by the taste of this.
It will do, yeah.
Guys, thank you very much. We will see you for our next one soon. So thank you, and this is part of the Cooking with Kids campaign in association with Tesco. This is for our Christmas and Winter app, which is in the iTunes store now. So thank you very much for joining us, and I will be talking with Galton when we go offline to see what other fantastic things we will be working on with him in the future. And if you're either in Norfolk, you've got Morstan Hall and the Chrome Fish and Chip Shop.
Come along.
So do head up here. It's a beautiful part of the world, and we'll see you guys soon.
Only downside, you can't get Wi-Fi.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Ice cream.